My name is Flavia Flaviani and I'm a senior bioinformatician for the Biomedical Research Center, or BRC, at Guy's and St. Thomas Hospital. I'm here today because Claire asked me to talk to you about my career path and how do I get to do what I do within the hospital setting for the NHS. But I'm not a doctor, I'm not a clinician. So in general, my path is not a straight line. And what I'm here to tell you is that science gives you a broad of opportunity. It opens so many doors for you. You don't have to, if you might be in your age where you don't know exactly what you want. You know you like science, but you don't know, do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a nurse? Do you want to be a scientist? What options are there for me? And I'm here to give you some ideas, for example, of what was my path and what worked for me, and give you some options. So as you can tell from my name, as I said, is Flavia. I'm not British, I'm not English, I'm actually Italian. I'm from a place called Sardinia, which is the second biggest island in the Mediterranean. And I spent the first 15 years of my life in that island, only speaking Italian and Sardinian, so we have our own language. And I love science, but I only found out how much I loved science when I moved for my fourth year of high school in the US when I was 16. And the first thing I remember was my physics class. It was a practical class, and I got into the class and we were putting our classmates, some of them, into tanks of water. And I was like, what is this? This is so weird. And that was just because we were trying to measure their body volumes. And after that, I just fell in love with physics and science. Now, my background is very mixed, and that's true for the entirety of my team, of the team that I work with. So, as I said, I'm a bioinformatician, and I'll tell you also what my job is about. But in general, what I do in my role for BRC, I support clinicians and doctors in their research. You might have heard, especially now with the COVID-19, that there is lots of medical research going on in lots of hospitals. Now, for me, my role is support this research, support this clinician, and provide my skills to help with their analysis and the research. How do I do it? I do it through using my background, which is biology and bioinformatics. So to look at genetic sequences both of bacteria and human and in general microbes, and provide these skills using computers to the analysis. How do I get here? So as I said, my path was not straight. So you can't see my path as a straight line. It was actually all twisting and winding roads. And what do I mean by that? I mean that for me, I started doing my first BSc in biology, bioecology. So I was interested in environment. Then I did my first master in biology, where I was sampling water environments, and actually I was labeling cephalopods. And after that, I started working in public health in Italy, looking at microbes, and we were culturing microbes. What I mean by microbes is bacteria. So, for example, we're looking at Salmonella, which is some pathogens like Salmonella, Listeria. You might hear of Legionella, which cause bad disease in humans. And we were literally swab it to walls using some swabs. And then put it into another plate, and then incubate it into like a thermostat, and then doing some other analysis. After that, I moved to a hospital lab when I was doing analysis of blood samples and human samples in a lab in a hospital. So it was very practical, it was lab-based, and I really enjoyed it. Now, for me, there was something missing. And that's where I did my second master in bioinformatics. Now, bioinformatics is very interesting field because there's lots of different background, and it mixes biology and informatics and IT and computer programming skills. And that's where I said the aim for my master was to look at communication between biologist and informatician. And that's really important. As I mentioned before, the team that I work with is really mixed. The head of my department, my manager, he has a background in physics. Our sysadmin, Jorg, he has a background in chemistry and then moved into IT, so he provide all the IT support for us and the infrastructure for us. Then my other colleagues, the other two senior bioinformaticians, Frisbee senior bioinformatician, one has a computer engineer background, one has a medical degree background. He's actually has done medical school and then moved more into statistics. And then Konstantina, she had a background bioengineering. And we had another colleague that has a computer programming background. So science, as I said, open all these doors and give you so many chances, because you might change your mind. Like for me, I really enjoy working in the lab, but as I said, there was something missing. I really felt that to do the research and to fulfill the science that I wanted to do, I needed to do more computer, and I really enjoyed the computer side of it, the computer analysis. So I got into programming, and I did it with the master and then my PhD. And I really enjoyed, through my PhD, I discovered that I really, really enjoyed the computation side, that's how it's called. So that's where then it all comes from for me. It's really, really important for me to being able, and the job that I do allow me to do so much and to interact with different type of research, different type of projects. So for example, I work with the Women's Health and Children department at the moment, which means I manage to support different type of project, from microbiome, which is the study of microbes that live in our body, and also in the environment, but specifically within the NHS, microbes that might affect, for example, the skin and make something like dermatitis and eczema worse, or looking at women's conditions linked with microbial population. I've also worked with what is called epigenetics, so we're looking at difference in methylation in the DNA. So the DNA is our genetic material and it's composed by bases, but some of the changes are based on the genes that are read and transcribed from our DNA, but also we have some modification that make those genes being read or not read. So looking at the epigenetics, it means we're looking at this modification in the DNA that makes that genes being read or not, and what disease can be caused by it. And so on. So lots of different projects, lots of different community, and I got to interact with lots of different doctors, and it means that in my own way I can provide support for patients. It's a different type of support, but it is support for patients, and it's great because with the research that we do, we can improve patients' life, because we can provide ideally better identification of risk, quicker identification of disease, and so on, so provide a better life quality for patients. So yeah, so the main thing for me is that we really can you can move in any direction you want. So you can start, okay, I really like biology now, but you're not stuck with biology. And there's just so much, because even within biology, there's so many fields. There's like biology, ecological biology, there's anatomy, there is molecular biology, and then you have all the different type of chemistry. Even when you look at it, you can have studies that I've been involved with look at NMR, nuclear machine resonance, so different molecules present in the body as well. So you can look at composite in the body. Then again, we have computer. You might just go into computation and programming course during your studies, and you realize, oh, I really like that. This is more for me, or actually lab work is more for me, and it's brilliant. Now, I said I have a PhD, I have master. You don't need all of these. For bioinformatics, for example, within this country, you can do a program after your bachelor, for example, but also you can start working even after your BSA, which is really important because it means you can start working, you see what you like, and then you can move on. Not everyone in our team has a PhD, and not everyone needs a PhD, and a PhD might not be for you, but you can have so many options even when you start with your BSc. You can have a BSc in chemistry or biology or physics, what science you like, and then you can move from there. And again, there's so many doors. Now, something that you might have picked up, my accent is a bit interesting, at least I think it is. And it's because, as I said, I'm Italian, and yes, I lived in the US when I was 16 for 1 year. Very scary. But because I left my family when I was 16, I didn't see my family for 1 year, because I wanted to learn English, and it was a great experience. But also for my studying for science, you get to travel a lot. It's yes, it's something we can't see now, but I did my second master the project for my second master in Plymouth, here in the UK, in Devon, and where I was actually looking at viruses, but algae viruses, which are brilliant. And for my PhD, I did a part here in the UK, in Plymouth, and part in South Africa, in Cape Town. I got to live for 2 years in South Africa, and it was just beautiful. Then you can move for conference and so on, but it's just, there are just so many opportunities, and that's where I'm here to just tell you that don't be scared of not knowing right now what you want to do your path, but try to see what you enjoy, what side of sciences you enjoy, and just pursue it and try it, and ask for internship if you can, because those are really, really important, because those allow you to see and develop the skill that you need for the job that you like. Because honestly, if you like the job you're doing, you're just gonna love it, and every day is just gonna be brilliant. So I hope you enjoy my talk, and yeah, please ask any question if you need.